Hello, everyone. This is the third of an interview series we've been doing at SFTS, and this particular one with our interim dean and professor of history, Dr. Chris Ocker. But prior to this clip, we were talking about this Spanish theologian in the 15th century, whose name was Juan de Segovia, who was centered within a time where Europe was developing a self-identity as well as a Christian theology or thought about its relationship with other religions, in particular Islam and the growing Ottoman Empire of the time. So I asked Dr. Ocker if this research makes him optimistic or pessimistic about the modern day in Christianity's relationship with other religions. And then he talks about what a truthful look into history can give us today. Thank you. Enjoy.
I don't think it doesn't make me optimistic or pessimistic, but maybe this is optimistic. I don't know. It communicates to me an opportunity. So this is a quote. Listen to this. People make their own history, but they do not make it as they please. They do not make it under self-selected circumstances, but under circumstances existing already. Do you recognize this quote?
No, but I love it. I mean, that makes so much sense.
Well, it's Karl Marx in the 18th Brumaire.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. That's wonderful, though.
So they make it under circumstances existing already, given and transmitted from the past. The tradition of all dead generations weighs like a nightmare, Marx said, on the brains of the living. And just as they seem to be occupied with revolutionizing themselves and things, creating something that did not exist before, precisely in such epochs of revolutionary crisis, they anxiously conjure up the spirits of the past to their service, borrowing from them names, battle slogans, and costumes in order to present this new scene in world history in time-honored disguise and borrowed language. And then he continues, thus Luther put on the mask of the Apostle Paul. And he goes on and gives numerous other examples.
What's funny about that is
part in this book.
Nice. So, I feel like at least my perspective of you as a historian, you're doing the opposite. Like you don't seem to put any disguise on anyone.
Exactly. And what do you get? And what do you get? What do you get if you try to maybe expose some of those disguises?
Yeah.
Well, you get an alternative way of thinking and learning from them. And what you learn is how the present moment and a critical knowledge of the present moment informed by the past, pursued in that manner, provides for you an opportunity for free action in the present. So the past, by exposing those masks, you actually show that you are not locked down to a particular response, but you can actually exercise free agency, you and your peers, in the present moment.
Sometimes, like, honesty can be really scary. Truth can be scary, and I, as Karl Marx indicates in that quote, right? You're sort of like, what do you say? Something like horrors and nightmares of the past. You know, something to that. Yeah, right. Right. I mean, that's really true. That's what we sit on and live with, both inside us and outside of us, I think. So
yeah, it's like a generational nightmare, you know, I think for a lot of people right now who are, you know, younger, who are one or two generations behind me, are feeling like, wow, you know, what this last generation leaves us is this ecological nightmare. And yeah, so, you know, so how do we, you know, ecological nightmares, political nightmares, we seem to be slipping back into the Cold War. You know, there's even talk of nuclear Armageddon again. You know, stuff that we thought we left behind in the early 1990s, and here it is again. You know, those nightmares of the past, and yet we are we have a responsibility in the present to live our lives the best we can, to contribute as much as we possibly can to the good for ourselves and for those we love and for everyone.
If I'm interested in moving in the good direction, whether, if I'm a spiritual leader or a leader in any context, then I think there are pieces that you can take even from some things that might appear nightmarish or maybe even are nightmarish. Sometimes even the smallest step that Juan de Segovia took in his context could lead you in the right direction. So it's maybe even less of a role model and more of a, like, the first steps, of a compass pointing in the right direction. I mean, how do you look at that?
I think what you're talking about are the little things that happen on the margins of thought and discourse and the human experience. They're little things, and it's those little marginal things, like Juan de Segovia's notes in his manuscripts. Maybe, I mean, I like to work with manuscripts, and when you work with medieval manuscripts, one of the interesting things there are when you find a book owned by a person, they put marginal
Yeah,
notes, and you're actually, you're in the gutter with their thought process. So
that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is kind of cool. It's so anyway, that's something historians often enjoy doing. But when it's there on the sidelines. They're little things that suggest inconsistencies, problems, incommensurabilities in the logic of one's thinking in its context that could be, like like in that song, they could be cracks in the wall through which light gets in. So
yeah, yeah.
they're they're things that qualify what they say, what they probably maybe even deeply believe they think they're doing. That say, well, you know what? Here's another possibility. Might have been a missed opportunity, but it's there too, and that's also part of the human experience. So I mean, this is one of the most crucial things for people who are, or societies in conflict, who are looking for ways out of conflict. Is to find those little cracks and see and use them as handholds and footholds. To see the little points of surprise and inconsistency that are not there in the middle of what somebody is claiming or asserting or trying to impose, but on the sidelines, and finding there an opportunity. And yeah, that too is a skill to which historical thinking, a skill that historical thinking can help a person cultivate.
Wonderful. I think it's a good place to end as any.
All right, great. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And best of luck with. I can't believe how busy you are.
Yeah, I have a little trouble believing it myself.
Yeah, right.
It feels a bit like trying to serve a tidal wave, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, right. You do what you can with what you have.
That is definitely true.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right, take care. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.